Today we are going to read about the introduction of the pathology. So the objective of our lectures are to learn about some terms used in the pathology. The second one is to learn about the cell injury, and the another is to know about the adaptation, to know about the causes of the cell atrophy. Okay, so what is the pathology? So pathology is a specific study of the disease, study of the structural and functional changes in the disease. You need to know the basic knowledge of the normal anatomy, structures, and the physiology functions to understand the pathology. So basically, as you get from the definition, it is a study of the disease. So before you know the disease, you must know the structure and the function of the disease. Now, the pathology of a disease is formally studied under of the following subdivisions. The one is etiology, study of cause, causative agent of the disease. The second one is pathogenesis, study of the disease progress or evolutions. Third one is morphology, study of the structural changes in the disease like growth and the microscopic changes we are going to read in the pathology. And the another one is clinical significance, study to how clinical features are related to change during a injury. So we are going to read about the what are the changes that occurs in the cell injury in the clinical significances, and in the morphology you guys are reading about the growth and the microscopic features. The microscopic features are that we see under the microscope, and the growth as you see from the naked eye as well. The major groups of the disease are the inflammatory, degenerative, and neoplastic. Inflammatory. So, what is inflammatory? Inflammatory disorders are due to the damage to the tissue by the various injury like the physical, chemical, and infection, etc. Degenerative disorders are due to the lack of the growth or aging. So, can occur due to the physical, chemical, infections. Disorders are due to the lack of the growth or the aging. Neoplastic are the disorder are due to the excess cell division forming the tumors. The factors that cause are the mainly two types: environmental, or you can say external factors, and the genetic or the internal factors. The disease which present since the birth are called the congenital disease. All other disease are known as acquired disease. So the disease we received from our parents is known as congenital disease, and that disease we get from the environment or from the other thing is called acquired disease. Like if we take the example of the Down syndrome, this is congenital disease, and if you are taking the example of the COVID-19, then it acquired disease we acquired from the peoples. Disease which are occurs in the families are known as familial disease, as I told you about the Down syndrome, or you can say any other syndromes which are which are familial disease which transfer from one parent to the another children. What is cell injury? So basically this is a normal cell that is in purple color, and this is homeostasis. Basically this is the normal cell which maintain the homeostasis. Homeostasis means maintaining the constant internal environment of the cell, or you can say of the body. So if any stress occurs on that cell, it goes in the adaptation, and if the cell is not able to adapt that stress, then cell injury occur. The another one is if the stress is too much, then it can directly leads to the cell injury. Now cell injury is of two types. That one, if the stress is mild, then it will cause the reversible injury. The reversible injury, after sometimes it can turns into the normal cell. And if the stress is very severe and it is very progressive, then it can leads to the reversible injury, and the reversible injury is can lead to the necrosis and apoptosis. So apoptosis is basically a coordinated program cell death, which is always a it is always a physiological, it can never be a pathological. But this is the apoptosis which is mainly occurs in our body like during aging and during normal day-to-day life. But necrosis, it is can be pathological, or it can be physiological as well. As so we are going to read about detail of the necrosis. So necrosis is defined as a localized area of the death of the tissue followed by the degeneration of the tissue by hydrolytic enzymes liberated from the dead cells. It is invariable accompanied by the inflammatory reactions. Various antigens such as hypoxia, chemical and physical agents, microbial agents, and immunological agents, etc. Two essential changes are characterized irreversible injury in the necrosis of all the types: cell digestion by the hydrolytic enzyme, degeneration of the proteins. Now we are going to read about the types of the necrosis. So type of the necrosis is, first one is liquefactive, second one is caseous, next one is fat, coagulative, and gangrene. So basically liquefactive is mainly seen at the brain, caseous is seen at the infection of the myocardium or the tuberculosis, fat is mainly seen at the breast or at the pancreas, coagulative is seen at the kidney, liver, or heart. At the end, another one is gangrene. Gangrene is usually at the limbs. So types of the uh, necrosis, it's a mnemonic for you guys. Fun filled life can get complicated, so it is a mnemonic. F for the fat necrosis, F filled for the fibrinoid, life for the liquefactive, can coagulative, get gangrenous, complicated, caseous. So clinical types of the gangrene. So basically three types of gangrenes are there. The one is dry gangrene, another one is wet gangrene, and the next one is gas gangrene. So here is the difference between the dry gangrene and the wet gangrene. The gas gangrene is caused by Clostridium perfringens. So now we are going to read the difference between the dry gangrene and the wet gangrene. So basically the sites of the dry gangrene is lower limb, and the site of the wet gangrene is most commonly in the bowel, like you can say in the intestines. Mechanism in the dry gangrene is arterial occlusions, and in the wet gangrene most commonly venous occlusion, less often arterial occlusion. So sometimes it can be arterial, but it is mainly venous. Microscopy of the dry gangrene. Organ is dry, shrunken, and black. The microscopy of the wet gangrene is moist, soft, swollen, and the dark. Line of demarcation is present between the gangrene and healthy part. In the dry gangrene, in the wet gangrene, no line of demarcation is present between the healthy part and in a gangrenous part. The presence of the bacteria fail to survive in the dry gangrene. Number of bacteria are present in the wet gangrene. Progresses general better due to the little septicemia, generally poor due to the profound toxemia in the wet gangrene. So in the next video we are going to read about the apoptosis and its mechanism of actions and many more things. So please like and subscribe our channels and share this video with your colleagues. Thank you.